Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay here to talk some Packers this evening as we're closing in on this much anticipated matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, for the very first time in his career, going up against his former team, the Packers. Going to be an awesome showdown there on Sunday Night Football. Tonight, however, we're going to talk about Devontae Wyatt in pads at practice. I think that's great news. We'll give you a McManus update, a Brandon McManus update. Obviously, he's out there at practice again today and kind of give you an idea of what he did or did not do at practice. We'll also talk about some Micah Parsons, just how big of an impact he's having on this Green Bay Packer team as we lead up to the Pittsburgh game. Jeff Hafley speaking on the DB room. Does he feel like they're where they need to be? Is he as concerned as some of the fan base may be, right? We'll talk about all that. We'll do a full breakdown there. We'll also maybe dive back into the trade rumors that were swirling a little bit earlier today. If you guys didn't catch that, we did an in-depth breakdown of that on the afternoon show, so you can go back and watch that. I'll have it at the end of this show. It'll be on the end screen. You'll have it right there. You can just click on it as well. So, and then if we have time, Tim, we're going to jump into the PFF preview Packers Steelers. Before we do, though, if everybody would do that YouTube stuff for me, take just a quick second, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. So this is leading up to the Packers Steelers, usually this time of the week. What we'll do, it's kind of a PFF preview, give you all the injury reports, the updates. We'll have you a detailed game plan on how to beat the Steelers by Friday or Saturday. And then, of course, Sunday we'll be doing pregame shows, postgame shows. And then next week we'll do the film breakdown and rinse and repeat. So that's what you get here pretty much in terms of daily content with PTA. So if you're looking for that type of stuff, make sure you hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Tim, how you doing, big dog? I got my Auntie Rona still hanging around here, so you may have to take over here in a minute if I start to hack it. But how you doing?
I got your back, man. Sorry I missed yesterday and this afternoon. Glad to be back talking some ball. You sound a little better than you did at least a few hours ago, so you might be in the turn here.
Yeah, feeling a lot better for sure, man. Yesterday it was just literally couldn't control the coughing, right? And then I don't want to get too detailed. You guys know what it's like. And you're hacking and it's bad. So we're at the
wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
That's right. We're at the wash your hands, wash your butt stage. Now we're at the blood stage right now. You guys know what I'm talking about. Everything you're hacking up got a little bit of that going on. So sorry, too many details, right? And I see Chris is under the weather too. Chris, you didn't catch it from this stream, all right? So just remember about that, buddy.
Man, it's making the rounds. I'm telling you.
And all the way down there in Texas, man. It's wild. Jump from Tennessee to Texas, all the way to Wisconsin. Because you had a little something a couple weeks ago, didn't you, Tim?
Yeah, about a month ago. Ran through, a good half of my family. So glad everyone's doing okay. And you sound like you're getting on the other end of it. The aches and pains are always the last to leave,
Yeah. Let's hit this real quick. This is kind of off cuff, and then we'll jump into the content. Since this is a big topic today, J. Cole 249 says, boy, the FBI ain't playing. Y'all think the NFL's next? I wouldn't rule it out, man. If you guys don't know what's going on there, obviously the NBA has got this. There's a huge investigation the FBI is conducting on the NBA. I think they said there's been 30. Did I understand correctly, Tim? There was 30 arrests or 30 people involved with a few arrests. How do you
like that? Yeah, I didn't. I
saw
a
little bit blurry.
Yeah, a little bit blurry, but it seems like there's multiple things going on too. It's not necessarily directly tied to like sports betting or things like that, but basically illegal gambling activities. So I don't know how many people were arrested. I like to wait a little bit, get all those details out, and then make up our mind. But it's looking like 30 plus people involved.
Based off what the feds are saying, 31 people involved. There have been arrests, including, I think, Chauncey Billups. Now, he was a coach, right? Am I thinking right? He was actually coaching.
Coach and former player, yeah.
Yeah. I knew he was a former player, but I didn't realize he was actually coaching now. So that's kind of a big deal. And then, like J. Cole says, the mob is involved as well. So anytime all four of the major families get mentioned, you perk up a little bit. Like, all right, maybe it's time to break out the Sopranos again. Go back and watch that a time or two, right? But anyway,
you know what they're all saying, right? They're all saying about Chauncey. They're just saying
he was the best guy around.
He did nothing wrong. Yeah. Nah, but the big thing there for me is like, listen, we knew this was going to happen once gambling got completely embedded in with sports. You're going to have people that break the rules, test the rules, stretch the rules, all that stuff, right? So it is what it is. And again, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Jay, bring it up, though. I'm glad you did, buddy, because it is a big story. And right as we went live, I was reading that it sounds like, depending on who you trust, who you believe, I want to say it was the New York Post was saying that LeBron name getting attached now, and you guys know that's their golden goose in the National Basketball Association. So it sounds like he had a family member sell information about his injury, knowing he wasn't going to play, and then lo and behold, they went and put a big wager on that and came out on top, is what it sounds like. So anyway,
I had to put the Stephen A. pick up while you were talking about LeBron.
Oh, that's beautiful, by the way. Yeah. And Holmes MD1 says, leave the gun, take the cannoli. There you go, man. Everybody knows exactly what we're talking about. So
I like Turt McGirt said, check Brad Allen.
Yeah,
let's start going over these dirt bags. Let's get it together.
Who's our other guy? The one that I said looked like he was off the episode of Reno 911. What's that cat's name, man?
Oh, that's Ronnie Torbert.
Ron Tolbert, right? Is that what it is? Tolbert? Yeah.
Torbert. T-O-R-B-E-R-T. Yep.
Yeah. That dude got them birth control glasses on all the time. You ain't getting nobody pregnant wearing that prescription. You know what I'm saying? Man. Tim glasses look smooth. I can't pull it off. My head's too big, but so is Ron's. I'll just say that. All right. But let's move it along here. So Devontae Wyatt back at practice. It was Ryan Wood who tweeted out this video here. Devontae Wyatt is practicing for a second straight day, this time in pads. A very good sign. Tim, I got to be honest, man. Yesterday, I was kind of trying to curb the enthusiasm. Like, all right, he was back at practice, but I didn't see him hitting anything. And now you see him in pads looking like they're actually testing it. Do you think there's a realistic shot Devontae Wyatt plays this week, man?
Heavy D in the house. I hope so. But again, we've been down this road, 10 or 20 times before, right? If it means him having a setback and missing more time, then I say no. If he's good to go, we're going to need all hands on deck against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So, it's no joke. We haven't won a game there since 1970. So we need everyone we can, and especially in the middle. It's just good to see him out there, even if it is hitting tackling dummies and, kind of limited or I think he was limited, right? He wasn't full participant. He was limited today. I'm sure we'll hit on that.
It's good. Yeah, we'll hit on it here in a minute for sure.
Getting them back, and good to see the icy white helmets. So there's a little insight, right? Looks like the Pack is going to wear the all whites on the road this Sunday.
Yeah, and he was limited today, and yet it has been confirmed they're going to go with the whiteout uniforms, or the winter warning uniforms.
Winter warming.
Yeah, and
Prime the reason time, maybe Sunday Night Football. Let's go.
They're going to do that because the Steelers are wearing their throwbacks and they got the yellow helmet. So, and I've seen people bashing it. I kind of like that stuff, man. I mean,
I was hoping we'd wear the 1923 throwbacks on the road and, have a throwback game. But, I like the look, though. We're the all whites. The players love it. It's icy white look, winter warning game. Makes sense.
Yeah. And listen, no matter what uniform they wear, if Devontae Wyatt's out there, he's going to look good in it. I know Micah Parsons is excited about potentially getting him back. Ryan Wood also tweeted this out. Micah Parsons on the impact getting Devontae Wyatt back on the field would have for the Packers defense. Let's see what number one here had to say old Micah Parsons about Devontae Wyatt.
It's a huge impact. I think he makes my life easier. He understands how to rush, how to play, his play style. I just think he brings guys along. His energy is contagious. He's such a standard in the room. You can tell he learned after some really good guys, and he just carries it with him every day. He has that G mentality, that dog mentality, and he's just fun to play with. How can you use the?
All right, so there you go.
They didn't even let Micah get past the loading dock. They just hit him with the the press corps right away. It sounded like he was, didn't even make it to the locker room.
Absolutely, man. And again, I think what he's saying is true. However, I do want to say this, man. Devontae Wyatt, this defense has looked different since he's been out, right? So if you look at it from that standpoint, yeah, he makes a huge difference. I think we would all agree. However, if you look at some of the analytics, some of the grades and stuff, I really want to just point out that just because we're not getting the overall result in some of these games, like a dominant defensive performance, it doesn't mean these interior backups are playing bad. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Let me get to the super chat first. Celestial Prophet 2013 with the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. He said, just wanted to say, love the channel. Y'all always backing J Love, which is good to see. Keep up the great work. Thank you for the kind words there, Celestial Prophet. Appreciate it, buddy. Really, really do, man. You guys have no idea how much that means. Because, we're in here talking every day, and you get some knuckleheads that come through, right? And they just want to be negative. They want to troll, disagree on everything. But overall, man, the group that we've got in here is awesome. So I tell people when they first jump in, hey, love the channel, man, embed yourself in the chat on YouTube and come in to encourage and agree to disagree and all that, right? And it's just a really, really cool community, man. And it has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with the people that are watching the show. But we greatly appreciate that, man. Thank you for the kind words there, for sure. So here's what I wanted to point out, Tim. Devontae Wyatt. Let's talk from a PFF standpoint, and then we'll go to NFL Pro and look at some of the pressure percentage and some of the other analytics. Okay, Devontae Wyatt's grading out as the 25th best interior defender. Now you got to be careful with this because some of these guys, like Micah, for instance, Micah is listed as a linebacker for the Packers. Okay, and the reason being is he's probably played standing up more than he has with his hand in the dirt. That's the only reason I can come up with. Plus, we play him in that joker spot, which is technically a 3-3-5 with an A-gap mug. And so he's listed as a linebacker. But you'll get some of these guys that are actually listed as an interior defender just because they're rushing on the inside more so. I wish they would separate it into defensive line, edge, and then then linebacker. That's how I wish they would do it. And be aware that the guys, even though they're playing joker and kind of lining up in that A gap, they're still an edge defender. That's what they do, predominantly. So anyway, with that being said, there may be a couple of extra people in this grouping that's not actually interior defenders. Okay. But Devontae Wyatt's grading out as the 25th best interior defender in the National Football League right now, a 72.6 overall PFF grade. Okay, so his pass rush grade of a 79.2 is stout there as well. But Tim, what I want to point out, there's the coughs. Kobe Wooden, 18th now, bro, at a 73.8. And again, PFF isn't everything, but it just goes to show you Kobe Wooden kind of held his ground while Devontae Wyatt's been out. And you look at the score and you see that the defense maybe ain't performing as dominant as they were last year. So you think, oh, well, they're playing worse because Devontae Wyatt's out. Guys, that's a very, very, very casual way to fan. And you'll hear sports talk show hosts, they'll say that, well, his defense really struggles since they lost Devontae Wyatt. Okay, it appears that way, but let's look at the PFF grade. Well, PFF isn't everything. Right. Let's look at the NFL Pro data. Let's look at the pressure percentage. Let's watch the tape. And what we've seen on tape, Tim, Kobe Wooden playing like a madman. I'll tell you another one. Warren Brinson has really flashed, and that's caught me off guard because obviously we chose to kind of prop Nazir Stackhouse up in somewhat of a prominent role in the 53 and active pretty much every game day because he's that true nose build. But Warren Brinson's done pretty good, right? Carl Brooks hasn't been that bad. So PFF-wise, you've got two interior defensive tackles in the top 25, one of which, and Kobe Wooden, is grading out higher than Devontae Wyatt, man.
Yeah, and the other one hasn't played in 3 weeks, right? So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding right here. And, we can't say enough about Kobe Wooden. Matter of fact, everyone should just keep talking about him because he's been slept on for far too long. We saw flashes last season, and then going into camp this year, we saw him making strides. And, lo and behold, Heavy D goes down and, Kobe gets an opportunity to step up and fill in that gap, right? Next man up. And if you look at the numbers, at least PFF wise, he basically picked up right where Devontae left off.
Yes.
And, allowed us to continue to be a force to be reckoned with in the middle of that D line. And, like you said, we've had contributions from other guys as well. I think about Warren Brinson as well, a rookie that's the more playing time and more reps he gets, the better off he's going to be long term. But bottom line, we can't wait to see Devontae Wyatt back out there. And if that means Kobe Wooden gets less snaps, I'm sure he's prepared for that, and he's prepared to contribute every snap that he does get. And you got to tip your cap to him, man, really, because, we talked about these last couple of games kind of, not being as pretty as we wanted them to be. They could have been a hell of a lot worse if we didn't have the guys stepping up that did. So big shout out to Colby Wooden.
Yeah, Jen Wright says Wooden passes the eye test. He really does. And again, that's what I'm saying. If it was just PFF data and I'm watching the tape and going, it don't line up, that's not the case. Like, he's looked really, really good. He has. And it's kind of caught me off guard. The other thing I want to mention about Colby Wooden before we move on to NFL Pro is notice with Devontae Wyatt, his run defense grade, a 53.7. I'm pretty sure I got that right. Yeah, run defense grade is a 53.7, okay? And his pass rush grade is a 79.2. That's stout, right? But, leaves a little bit to be desired as a run defender. Colby Wooden is solid across the board, man. You're talking about 73.8, 67.5 run defense grade, 67.6 pass rush grade. And coverage grade, it don't matter. Every now and again, you may drop him off into some kind of fire zone blitz or something like that. But really, really impressive from those guys. Right now, let's see.
Colby's barely 25, right? So the future looks bright, right? We've got somebody here possibly for the long run here.
So we've looked at that stat, right? Now let's cross-check it. Let's compare it to NFL Pro data, okay? So again, these are all of our defensive linemen. Now, NFL Pro puts all the defensive linemen together, edge and defensive tackle. So, and keep in mind, they've actually got, you won't see our boy Micah Parsons on this list because they've got him listed as a linebacker as well. I don't know how these people have just bottomless pockets to fund a project like a website like this and not even get the positions correctly. Is just mind-boggling to me. But anyway, let's just focus on the interior defensive lineman. So when we go quarterback pressure percentage, Tim, look who's leading the way. 11.8% is actually Warren Brinson. And I wanted to mention this too. With Colby Wooden, I wanted to say, he's got less snaps than Devontae Wyatt, so, take it with a grain of salt. That's not true. He's actually got significantly more snaps than Devontae Wyatt, so he's been tested quite often. However, Warren Brinson here, he's only played 49 snaps, but 11.8 pressure percentage is really, really impressive, man. He's also got 2 stops so far as well. Next, you've got Devontae Wyatt at 8% pressure. And again, this is GPS tracking. How close the defender gets to the ball before it comes out of the quarterback's hand is essentially how they track their pressures over. There's a way I understand it. And you can watch every pressure by clicking on that number too. Next, you've got Carl Brooks at 7.6%. And then Colby Wooden only at a 5.1%, Tim. So that's significantly lower than what you would think the PFF grade is. So if you take both and put them together, right, and kind of equal value, if you will, it kind of tells the story of Colby Wooden just kind of being somewhat stable. You want his pass rush to be better, obviously, but he's more of a run defender than a pass rusher, honestly. However, you remember the draw play they ran? I think it looked like a draw because he got in the backfield so quick. Remember that block shed he had and tackle for a loss in the last game against Arizona. So seems to be a little more stout against the run than the pass, although PFF had him pretty even across the board. And just wanted to point out that according to NFL Pro, Wyatt has 8% pressure rate right now. You want that up to about 10%, although on the interior, Tim, you don't really expect those guys to crack 10% much because there's some of them being asked to do the touch spy and kind of hold your gap and this and that, right? So it gets a little bit wonky in that regard. He does have 2 sacks too on only 100 whatever you call pass rushes. So I just wanted to cross-check that. What's your thoughts on that? I think it's pretty cool that Warren Brinson logging in at 11.8% there, man.
Yeah, I love it. And then just really real quick, talking about Devontae Wyatt, 8%, if he's north of that and yet he's missed the last 3 weeks and he's still holding at that spot, I'll take it. I can't wait till he's back full strength. But looking at our rookies, between Brinson, Sorrell, and Nas Stackhouse, you see Nas Stackhouse is getting the bulk of the snaps here. I would fully expect that depending on how things shake up, we could see more of Warren Brinson and possibly more of Barron Sorrell as the weeks progress here, depending on how, guys look on that line. Again, Devontae Wyatt, we hope he's back, but again, we don't know. But a lot to be excited about, man. You've got Colby Wooden, like we just talked about, playing great. LVN, a bit of a question mark with that foot, so we can talk about the game that Kingsley and Igbari had last week, which I thought was great. Guys are stepping up, man. Next man up. We talked about these guys playing as a unit, playing for each other. We've had multiple guys down in all 3 phases of the game, special teams, offense, and defense. We've had major significant injuries, and whether it's a backup new kicker, whether it's a defensive tackle, whether it's an edge guy, running back, whoever, somebody has stepped up and filled the void. And we've found a way to be here sitting with 4 wins and 1 loss, and we'll love it.
Yeah, definitely. We got Jacob joining us now. Jacob, I know you came in on the back side of this conversation. We were just talking about Devontae Wyatt being in full pads today. Yesterday, he was limited, was not in pads. Today, he's still limited, but in pads. And we were just kind of talking about potentially him playing Sunday night there against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got anything you want to add to that at all, man?
No, I mean, obviously it'd be nice to get him back in the rotation. I was listening to Micah's press conference on the way after work here, and he just reiterated how big of an impact player he is. Makes his job so much easier, makes the guys that he's playing next to on that D-line's job more easier. He said he's a hype man. He kind of brings the tenacity and the ferocity and all this kind of stuff. Really, he says, kind of gets the guys jacked up for getting them in the moment kind of thing. So the old tale that we've learned here in Green Bay is we don't want to force these guys back too early and then end up risking the further injury and having that extended. So if there's any sort of question as to that, I totally think that I'm cool with letting some of the younger guys. Really encouraging to see Brinson's numbers up there. Even guys like you just mentioned, Brooks and Wooden, have just, I believe, taken a massive step in their reliability and just them becoming professionals.
Yeah, definitely the DeMarcus Covington effect. You can just tell it's making an impact. So we got Emilio joining us now. Let's jump on to kicker talk here. Emilio, you doing okay, buddy? You all right, man?
Yeah, no, yeah. All I was going to add to that, the D-line talk, was Hafley was saying, at some point you're going to need to have depth. So at least right now with D Wyatt out, you get the extra reps for Brinson, for Wooden, for Stackhouse, like you're saying. Just get those reps. You see the guys getting better. You see them getting that actual playing time in the game. Once Wyatt comes back, all right, cool. Maybe you dial the snaps back. But again, later on in the year, you're probably going to need him again. We're probably going to have to lean on him. Who was the running back for our Super Bowl run? Horns up, baby, Starks. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't even plan for it. It just happens.
Absolutely, man. Jacob knows all about that. Anyway, let's move it along. His 1987 says, finally, kicker talk. That's right. Nobody even had a super chat for it either, man. How about that? Rob Domofsky had tweeted out a little update here from Rich Bisaccia on Brandon McManus, how he looked kicking today. Quote, we'll see how he feels tomorrow. It was good to see him out there kicking and feeling like he can complete practice. Okay. Now, when he first came out, he had this thing, had his leg wrapped, and then, of course, he took that off. I didn't see any video of him kicking. I combed through. Maybe I overlooked it. Here's a clip that Wes Hodkowitz had tweeted out. I'll go ahead and just kind of let it roll here a little bit if I can get it muted. Brandon McManus' right quad appears to be practicing today, but the Packers weren't kicking yet during portion of practice open to the media. So there you go. Devontae Wyatt was practicing in pads. We talked about that. No Dontavion Wicks or Lucas Van Ness. So you can pretty much write them off this week, I would imagine. However, Brandon McManus being out there, what do you think, guys? Do you think there's a realistic shot that Brandon McManus is going to play Sunday? Do you think they just move forward with Haversick one more time here? Obviously, there's nothing to this video, just them kind of lining up and going through the process a little bit. When he came out, though, Emilio, he had that quad wrapped up, right? Mm-hmm. And he took that wrap off. And, of course, the media, I guess, had to leave if he continued to kick outside. But I'm okay with Haversick. But I will say this, man. You guys know my brother was a big Steelers fan before he passed away. Watched a lot of Steelers games with him. Man, Acrisure, or I'm still going to call it Heinz Field.
Yeah.
It gets a little ugly in that open end, man. That wind is rough. So I would love to have McManus if he's 100%. The question is he going to be 100%, right?
Yeah, cold and windy over there. New turf probably as well. So and then Matt was saying, I'm pretty sure Pitt has a home game there Saturday. So it's going to get beat up a little bit. What's the footing like? Do you want to push that? And I'm sure it'll be a game time decision for him. But I just love Rich at the end. Turns it right after the snap. He turns around, looks right at the camera. Yep, that's all you guys are getting. And all right, huddle up, everybody. Good job. So
Brandon was 10 of 10 after the camera shut off.
Absolutely. I good kicker problem. Yeah. If he's still a little hurt, let's play it safe for another week, man.
Yeah, I think it just becomes a roster spot concern, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you suit 2 up for a game? Can you hold 2 spots? I think it's McMoney's spot to lose. Obviously, you're going to trust the veteran. That's why we extended him. That's why he's here. He alluded to having a similar issue with the quad on the kicking leg, I believe, when he kicked I think it was when he was with Denver. So he's played through stuff like this before. You want to give him every opportunity to go out there and, make some field goals for you. But Havocik is looking good. I'm sorry, Haversick. I call him Havocik. Havocik's been looking good. So, like Emilio said, it's a good problem to have, right? I mean, either way, if we're going to put a 80% Brandon McManus out there or 100% Haversick out there, I'm happy either way. Let's just hope the field holds up. I tell you, the surface at Pittsburgh is not going to look as clean as Ray Nitschke Field surface right there in this clip.
Right.
For sure.
Next time the reporters are there, I want to know what are we cutting that thing at, Tim? I mean, that's got to be 1.5 inches, maybe 1.25 inches. It's just crispy.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the grounds crew. Man, they're phenomenal over there.
Love it.
Jake, if you got anything you want to add to the kicker talk here, sir, I know you're the kicker expert here.
Yeah, definitely the expert. I just love Deadfish comment. He goes, "How big is 19?" I believe that's Waylon, right? He is a big boy. Isn't he like 6'6" or something? Even maybe a little
Thick.
I thought he was 6'5", I thought, but I do know this. For a punter, his RAS, relative athletic score, is in like the upper 9s. There it is. Yeah.
We'll take it.
And again,
in case we need a 5th or 6th string tight end, we got one. You never know.
and you know the long snapper, Orzik just loves the fact that he's that tall. Like you can't miss that cat with a snap, right?
Yep.
Love to see it. All right, let's just jump into the rest of the injury report and we'll move along real quick. Give you an update on everything else. So Aaron Banks, Anthony Belton, and Nate Hobbs all for full participation. So Anthony Belton will be back this week. That's really exciting. Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, both limited. Brandon McManus went from did not participate Wednesday to limited. That was planned. He was going to kick anyway, right? Jordan Morgan, good to go. Zach Tom, limited. He'll be good to go. Lucas Van Ness did not participate. He'll be out, I believe. Quay Walker, full participation. Christian Watson, limited, along with Evan Williams and Devontae Wyatt. And then Dontavion Wicks did not participate with the calf. So, again, I think that's pretty straightforward. The people that did not participate, I think they're going to be out this week. I really do. So, is there anything else you guys want to add to that side of the injury report before we move on? Good?
I just think it's great to have Belton back. Just have a little bit more, I guess, that offensive line. I just want him to find some continuity and have a sturdy, rotation of backups that we can trust. I'd like to figure out a way where we can keep guys in single positions and not moving them all over that line. Give them a chance to get comfortable, to play next to guys that they're comfortable playing with. I think having him back in the mix is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Let's take the Escalade out to Pittsburgh. Get a dub. I love it. Gives us a little bit more depth. That kind of offensive line's been kind of shaky as far as availability, not as far as play. I think guys are doing what they can out there, but getting a consistent line together is something that's just kind of happened these last couple of weeks. So the more depth we can have there, I'm happy. And then I would agree with Clay. I think Tay Wicks, LVN are definitely out for sure. Possibly another name on this list, like a McMoney, like we just talked about. But good to see Nate Hobbs went from limited to full. That's a good sign as well on this report.
Yep. Not too worried about the knee. Matt was saying that they don't expect to see Wicks out there for practice this week. So yeah, that's right there with y'all. Let's just keep him, move on, and
right on time. Right, Scoot might come back.
And that's the crazy thing. Like when we started the season, we had 3 or 4 people on the sideline when we were playing our preseason games, and we get a couple healthy, then another one goes down, then you get somebody back, and it's going to be like that the whole year. Just a perfect rotation somehow. It's all timed up right. But excited about the list getting a little bit shorter.
Almost as if it really makes sense what Goody did to load up this receiver room. When you look at the revolving door of injuries that come with playing in the NFL, it's good to have the depth in the receiver room that we have.
Yeah, definitely. Last one here. Caldwell Corner says, I can't remember, was Wicks a calf in training camp as well? I can't remember either, Caldwell. Yep. I can't. I'm trying to think if it definitely was him. Is that right?
I believe it. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it wrapped up during camp, and I think he had an ankle off and on too as well. I'm not sure if it's the same leg, but he's been dealing with the nagging calf issue since I believe OTAs.
Got it. And on Pittsburgh's side, man, this took a little bit of a turn here. We're talking about potentially getting Devontae Wyatt back, Jacob. And notice Zach Frazier, their starting center. He's got a calf injury. Wednesday he was limited. Thursday, today, did not participate. So he's trending towards maybe not playing unless they just said, all right, we've seen enough. Let's sit you out until game time. That could be the case too. But if they're down their starting center, Zach Frazier, with Devontae Wyatt potentially coming back, that could spell some serious pressure up the middle on Aaron Rodgers. As we all know firsthand, the way you play Aaron Rodgers is 2-man under and make him run you out of that 2-man under. If they stick with the pass and 2-man under and you get pressure in his face, you can make it a long day for old Aaron Rodgers. However, Zach Frazier ain't in there, Jacob. That kind of perks me up a little bit, man. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach Frazier, one of the best young, talented centers in the league. I believe me and Tim, I thought, had high draft grades on him. Definitely one of the guys that I would have liked to see in green and gold. However, now he's in the opposite side of the spectrum this week. Like to your point, man, and what better way to kind of get Rodgers frazzled if he doesn't have a consistent center? We've seen how that can sometimes mess up his kind of cadence, the way that he likes to have the ball snapped, breaking the huddle, the whole 9 yards, his hard count, everything can affect that. To go back again to Micah Parsons, they asked, when you go against a guy like Rodgers, what do you have to do? Because he's seen everything. He goes, I got to get in his face. And if he can get in his face with the help of Devontae Wyatt in the middle, him coming off the edge, forcing Rodgers to step up. As much as I love Rodgers' play, the old man can't really move around in the pocket the way he used to. He's got a little hitch in his giddy up. You know what I mean? Kind of like when the girls get old, I got to retire them. But, it's going to be an interesting matchup. And I think that a lot of people overlook the importance of a center. I know that I was one of those people until I got involved with this podcast and realized that it really is kind of the second quarterback of that defense, calling out certain protections, alerting, obviously, the quarterback of certain situations where they got to get the snap off quick. Having that consistent camaraderie is, I think, really underrated when you start missing a guy like Zach Frazier.
Jacob, do y'all have a pup list over at the club?
Yeah, it's kind of the same as the do not enter list. I don't want them ratchet girls coming in here if they can't work the pole. You know what I mean?
Do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
That's right, Coach.
I got a business to run. Say it's charity. Although
Scared money don't make money.
Charity is on IR, just in case you guys were wondering.
That's the best drop of the night right there. Scared money don't make money.
Talks.
Said, Jacob, I got to call in tonight. Scared money don't make money. Get in here. All right, so there you go. There's your Steelers injury list. I don't see anything else here, Emilio. Do you, man? Everything looks kind of, obviously you got a couple of veteran rest players, but I think everybody's pretty much good to go there. Other than, like I said, Zach Frazier is what really sticks out.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see game time, man.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move it along. Let's talk a little Micah Parsons here, boys. So listen, I know Ryan Wood posting these videos. Shout out to him, doing a great job giving us all the details, all the insight behind the scenes on X. His videos, for whatever reason, they come through like echoey. Almost, I don't know. It's like a double feed or something. So there's nothing we can do about it. I apologize, but he's got some great clips here I want to share with you guys. This was Micah Parsons at his locker or outside of the locker room, maybe. And he said, if the Steelers double team Micah Parsons more than the Cardinals, he says they'll have to find him first. Goal is to always find those 1-versus-1s. Joker one, like we talk about, right? Which is why he moves around, right? So let's see what Micah had to say about this.
I expect double teams everywhere. There's a plan for those. I feel like double teams is what it is, but I think that I have a good plan of rushing inside, outside. I kind of pretty much play every spot across the line. So, I make it hard. If they're gonna double team, they gotta find me. I ain't gonna make it easy for them.
Have you ever had fewer single team blocks in a game than what you had last week? Was that a career low?
My rookie year.
Yeah.
My rookie year. And then they found out.
That's the most 1-versus-1s he's had since his rookie year, and he said they found out. So, again, we talked about this. If you guys watch Chalk Talk with us, we mentioned Joker 1, right, Tim? We talk about it all the time. That's where they'll take Micah and line him up in the A gap, and they'll show a 3-man front. So essentially, it's a nickel 3-3-5, but it's a Joker 1. So technically, the mock backer in that would be Micah Parsons, although we all know he's rushing the passer, and that's why we specify Joker 1 or Joker 52 like we did last year with when they would have Gary do it. So what he's talking about there obviously is creating those 1-versus-1 matchups. Man, this is another example. We talked about Devontae Wyatt lining up over a potential backup center if Zach Frazier don't play. Imagine Micah Parsons coming out and lining up in that Joker spot, because we've seen the Cardinals starting center struggle with that Joker 1 as well.
Absolutely. That's going to be the key right there. Like to Jacob's point about getting a little pressure to Aaron there. We know he can diagnose the defense, but you get pressure in his face. He's going to be able to step up in that pocket, but I don't think he's the threat to run like he used to be, to Jacob's point. So if we can get that pressure there, and we saw, how Micah did last week, against a number one center, let alone a backup. And I'm sure there'll be some, communications things and stuff that Aaron's going to work on with a backup center out there in the game. So the more pressure you can put on that guy or those two guys in the middle, the better off you're going to be. I will say this, though, it's going to come down to our linebacker play, regardless of, if we're in those joker looks or not. It's going to be on Quay and Coop and, Zay McDuffie and those guys to, really be stout there in the middle, because, if Aaron does step up and extend the play, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared to cover, or you got to be prepared to get home on that tackle, because he'll make you pay. We've seen it for the better part of 18 years with Aaron Rodgers before, so we can't take that for granted at all.
Yeah, Jacob, PFF put this out, man. Micah Parsons has 4 games with a 90-plus pass rush grade this season. No other player has more than 2. So starting in week 1, 73.9. Then he jumped to a 90.6, 90.9, 94.3, back down to a 74.8, back down to a 74.8. Doesn't that just sound crazy, right? Yeah. And then back up to a 92.9. Micah Parsons dominating, dude. What do you think about him here going up against Pittsburgh? Because Aaron, listen, Jacob, Aaron knows where number one is all night long. He's going to look to get that ball out of his hand real quick. It's can the secondary create just enough time for Micah to get in there and get to number 8? Or do you think Aaron will be able to carve it up that way, man? What do you think?
Kind of to my earlier point, I think that like Parsons knows that Rodgers is great, and that he's basically seen every single trick, that the defense can try to throw at him in the book. On the opposite side, Rodgers knows Parsons is unbelievable, and he has to absolutely watch him like a heat-seeking meat missile that he is, which, to the previous segment here, being able to move him around interchangeably and almost kind of scarily to the point where he can line up on the right edge, float over to the left edge, drop back into a linebacker coverage, start touching the spine, doing all that stuff, and then all of a sudden he's shooting the center, the A gap, right? So like he's going to be playing. It's going to be a very interesting game of chess to see how these guys kind of play off each other. Again, we have to, if the center's gone, that's a whole new wrench in those spokes there. But how incredible is it that, a guy came in and honestly, we're talking about how his off days are 73 and 74. And that's in his first game when he comes here with no conditioning, lack of complete knowledge of the playbook. He'd probably tell you he knew 80%. Even if he does, that's incredible. I think, in my opinion, that he comes in and has his quote unquote worst game is a 73 in the pass rush. I mean, you talk about getting what you paid for. That is exactly what I expected when we were going to sign Micah Parsons, throw a bunch of bag at him. He comes in, he's been nothing but a consummate pro. He's been, even today when they asked him, like, do you think you're 100% now? And he goes, yeah, but Halfley keeps throwing more stuff in the playbook. So I learn the most stuff every week. And he said that we can always get better, always get better. I'm never going to max out and say that I've reached my potential, which I just love that mentality about him. It just, to me, screams that he is, again, an absolute pro. Can I pose a question real quick through JJ McQuaid? He says Parsons needs this helmet screen so he's not face mask all the time. He meant visor. He is. Do you think that would actually help? I mean, I don't see a lot of him necessarily grabbing the face mask. I feel like that's an easier call to get. But would it help maybe slide?
Yeah, I know he switched face masks, I believe, last week, and I think he does have a clear lens on one of those.
I mean, what I'm seeing him going underneath the chin the most, right? That's what I'm seeing the most. So
I don't get him a full cage.
Is it illegal to use some of the Vaseline I got at the baby oil I got back at the club? Can we give that to him? Like, literally, I'm not even joking. Is he allowed to lube up like the outsides of his helmet / chin strap?
No, Diddy, I don't think he is. All right. I don't think they allow that, just like they don't allow Stickum, and just like they don't allow the pitchers to, how many times a pitcher gets thrown out because he got the tackiness on the wrist or, behind the ear, on the neck, like the Yankee did several years ago. It was shining, boy. It looked like a freshly shined shoe, right? And he kept going to his neck and, grabbing that ball and gripping the ball. And finally the ump walked over and was like, "You got on your neck?" And he was like, "What are you talking about? This national TV, it's shining like crazy." got some kind of rosin or something. I can't remember what it was on his neck, but anyway, yeah, no, baby oil is not allowed other than Hollywood.
Well, I'm pro lube. All right, I'm going there.
That's terrible.
Right. So, Emilio, I want to ask you about this, Emilio. Ryan will put another tweet out. I'm not going to play the audio because it is, like I said, bad quality. But he said, "Ask Michael Parsons what's the biggest concern defending Aaron Rodgers." Quote, "I would say don't let Rodgers get to his spot. When he's in sync, it's like poetry. Every throw is on the money. Everything has in sync. You have to find ways to disrupt the tendencies, disrupt the spot." Right. And I think that goes on the backside too, Emilio, with the secondary. But I love what he's saying there, right? Don't let him get in rhythm. I think we really got to move Micah Parsons around like we've been talking about.
Yeah, and Hafley was saying that. He goes, I want him to kind of be all over. I don't want him to, be stuck in one spot. And I like that he's not just keeping him at edge, right? And I think he was saying it'd do him a disservice if we just kept him in one spot and they knew where he was coming from every time. So I think that's a benefit to Haf, that he has the ability to move him around. We saw a lot of that in Chalk Talk, that 3-3-5, like we were saying, and you see the benefits of that. Sometimes you can loop him. He can, jab. He can drop still. I mean, the dude's still an athlete. He can drop into coverage. So maybe they're worried about him, and you drop him, because it was either DJ or Greg Cosell saying that the Steelers really like to run that against Myles Garrett, really like to run that forehand mentality. So it's always going to be a tackle and a tight end, or a tackle and a running back. They want forehands on Myles Garrett, or, same superstar would be Micah Parsons. And I think that that's going to be, most of the game. So if you're sitting him on the edge, they can really kind of plan that out. You get him inside, move him around. He jumps around with, 3 seconds left on the play clock. They're kind of screwed. So I think that we can see a lot of that. And dude's just a freak. I just want to see him keep using it like that.
I would agree with that, because, like if Mike is coming off the edge, Rodgers, they're going to boot action away from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or he's going to check to something away from that pressure, or at least know where that pressure is going to be. So it says a lot to move him around, like you said, man. If you've got him firing from the middle, possibly dropping back into coverage, that's how you can kind of, do your best to get, Rodgers and that Pittsburgh offense off their rhythm, because that's a huge part of it, right? Aaron's going to find those reads in time. If he knows he can't get to the third read, he's going to hit the first or the second. So we got to do our best to make him uncomfortable back there.
And you can sugar late, maybe, because they were saying, I don't know how much can you beat a quarterback that's seen it all, right? What if you're in 3-3-5, but Mike is actually still at stack, and with like a second left, he's walking down to the line, or he's looping around, jumping around, and that's just something to try to get a hand over, a veteran that knows basically the whole game, right?
Right.
Do you think, to that point, Emilio, that he could try, like, to your point, that kind of delayed, I would hate saying a delayed blitz, but knowing that Rodgers likes to use that clock, and he likes to take it down sometimes, and he likes to try to take advantage of the defense being in bad situations, do you think you could try to flip that script and really, it is going to be a really fun chess game to watch how these two guys absolutely battle each other.
I'm hoping so, because they were asking Micah, what do you think about that? Are you able to get past a veteran quarterback? Are you able to scheme something up? He goes, oh, yeah, definitely. But it's just got to happen, right? We got to force him to take those check downs. We need to be able to, keep everything underneath. So I really am excited for Micah and what Hafley can kind of put together this game.
Yeah. We always talked about how Hafley's good at, like, pre-snap looks being different post-snap. It's almost like you have to take it a step further against an Aaron Rodgers offense, and you've got to give him sugar upon sugar and show him something pre-snap at the last second, just to, make him see what you want him to see. Kind of use that expertise against him.
Did you guys?
Another way of doing that, Tim, is totally the opposite approach. Is you show a too high shell all day long and do a late rotation. So when he comes to the line, he's trying to read what you got here. He can't read the rat defender. He can't tell which safety's rotating down. You come out and you show a too high shell. The problem is you got a light box, a light run fit, and you got to make sure your safety can get down there. I think both X and Evan Williams can get down there. And again, all those years watching Aaron play, his kryptonite was 2-man under. Now, 2-man under. Now, if you do a 2-man under with a spur in the box, like you bring a McKinney or Evan Williams in the box pre-snap and then have him bail out, I feel like that's the right answer. 2-man under that way you got that extra defender in there with the run fit, because if they run you out of 2-man under, that's how you can get you out of that defense, right? So 2-man under simply being, guys, 2 deep safeties, man coverage across the board, underneath leverage is what you're playing, right? The corners are playing press man, taking everything underneath away while they got safety help over the top. And that's why Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson started hammering that back shoulder play, because that's how you play that. When they're playing 2-man under, it's typically inside leverage a little bit, and then you hit that backside, that back shoulder fade. It's hard to defend that when you're on the same page. But go ahead, Jacob. What are you going to say, man?
No, I just thought it was interesting. I don't know if you guys saw when they asked Micah Parsons, what was your, I can't remember how they worded it, but basically, what are you most impressed with Aaron Rodgers' game? And he went and said he's a good teammate and he's a good, dude, basically. I love the way he said, I love the way he carries himself, and I love the way that he interacts with his teammates, which was just that certain media organizations that made him just go, when he answers that way. He said he respects him as a player, as a man. So I really do think that there's going to be a healthy level of respect from both sides of the ball. But, man, you see a guy that's in his absolute prime, a guy that's probably past it a little bit, but can still be so smart because he is the quarterback, the general, the field general of this game. It's just I tell you what, man, for a Sunday night football game, I don't think I've been more excited for one in a long, long time.
It'll be awesome, dude. Again, I know there's some fans that are dreading it. Typically, the fans that are dreading it are the ones that ran Rodgers' name through the mud for the last 2 years. He's washed up. He sucks. He blah, 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 blah. And now they're going, crap. Mm-hmm. He might come. We might get our butts kicked by him on Sunday, right? I don't feel like that. I think we're the better football team. I would pick Jordan Love over Aaron Rodgers right now, right? Obviously not in their prime. Aaron's one of the greatest to ever do it if they were both in their prime. But I do feel like Jordan is playing better football than Aaron right now. But Aaron, don't get me wrong, is still playing really good football. He really is. So
I feel like the team whose defense shows up the most is going to win the game on Sunday.
Yep.
It's really how I feel.
I tell you what I come down to here, Tim. I think we're 3-point favorites right now. And you guys know it's on the road, so take that however you want. Does that mean we're true 6-point favorites? Does it mean it's closer to 4.5? Whatever. If this thing comes down to a field goal, and it's Haversick on one side and Boswell on the other, I'm sorry. I love my Packers. Boswell's one of the best in the game. So just know this: anytime they line up to kick a field goal, and you see Boswell run out there, just know it's probably going through the upright. So with that being said, I think it's going to be a 1-turnover game. One turnover, one different, turnover differential point is going to decide this ball game, because I do think they have the edge in the kicking game right now. Although Haversick been perfect up to this point. So that's what I was thinking about earlier, Tim, is just kind of Boswell's a weapon, man.
Anything, they get the ball near the logo. He's in range. You have to consider that, and then again being at home. However, we saw Haversick got the leg.
So I was going to say, he's booting 61 yards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we saw it. That's good, but can you do it day in, day out like we've seen Boswell do for the better part of a decade here almost? So
and can you do it with that wind whipping over that mountain right over the river?
Right.
That's the thing.
It's like the opposite of Lambeau. They don't really get the swirls there. It's like a gust. They get the gust towards it. Yep.
Yeah, Emilio's been drunk on the riverbank a couple times.
Oh, yeah, it's windy up there, trust me.
So, again, last thing we'll hit on Micah Parsons here before we wrap up that segment. Micah Parsons is currently in the lead according to PFF Betting. NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He's a plus 180. The closest one to him is Aiden Hutchinson at a plus 320. Nick Bonito, plus 450. Myles Garrett, plus 700. Will Anderson, plus 1,000. Jared Verse, plus 2,000. And a player we're going up against this weekend, guys, TJ Watt's all the way down to a plus 2,500 now. So not having a great year after getting the bag. So, again, let us know in the comments what you think about Micah Parsons. If you're watching this video back later, let us know, how do you think they should deploy him? How do you think they should attack the Steelers offense in that regard? And that's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour two. We're going to talk a little DB room. Jeff Hafley spoke on that a little bit. And then if we have time, we'll get into the PFF preview as well. We'll see you over there.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour two. All right, let's talk a little DB here, boys. Listen, I did a video earlier today. It was kind of breaking news. I don't know if you guys seen it or not, but Trade talks started heating up a little bit. Turk McGirt, oh man, breaking news there too. JJ McCarthy is inactive tonight. That's kind of what I was expecting though, Turk, right? Turk McGirt. I love that name, by the way.
Here's the guy.
So does that mean Carson? Yeah, Carson Wentz is definitely playing okay. So listen, that JJ McCarthy thing, we get sidetracked so easy here. I do. I apologize. Not me. They're like, you got a mouse in your pocket. So when JJ McCarthy hurt his ankle, you go back and watch that video. He runs off the field not limping or anything. And all of a sudden his ankle's hurt. I'm telling you right now, guys, that was KOC going, this boy ain't ready. I was wrong. Let's protect him. Throw him on the IR. He twisted his ankle, and we'll give him another shot later on. So they're obviously still not ready. Sure would be nice to have Sam Darnold, quarterback in New Minnesota.
Or Danny Dimes.
Yeah, Danny Dimes doing pretty good too. Anyway, let's talk DBs. So trade rumors heat up. I hit this earlier. I don't want to go too detailed on my opinion. I wanted to bring it back up and get your all's take on it. So we'll start with you this time, Jacob. So, like I said earlier, our buddy Easton Butler, the Packers have called and spoken with two teams about cornerbacks. Per sources, 3 players have been mentioned, being Alontae Taylor from the New Orleans Saints and both DJ Turner and Cameron Taylor-Britt from the Cincinnati Bengals. I was told Turner was a legit asking if he was available, and Taylor-Britt was just a call. Now, listen, Easton Butler went on to say, calling a team doesn't mean they're in deep conversations. That'll be done soon. Literally could be asking about availability, price point, or actual trades to develop. So, again, he's not saying the Packers are trying to trade for a corner. He's simply saying this is a specific position, 3 specific players that they asked about their availability. So this tells me these are all 3 former second-round picks. Tells me that Goody probably had a first-round grade on them and seeing if he could get a deal on them. Jacob, how do you feel about the cornerback room currently? I could give you these stats. I'm sure you can't see them very well there. Let me just hit them real quick. On the season here, hell, if I can see them, this is rough, boy, let me tell you. So on the season, it looks like Alontae Taylor's grading out in the 60s, I believe. Then you've got DJ Turner. I don't know why it's not zoomed in more there. There we go. It's a little bit. DJ Turner is the one that's got the best grade at a 76.7 right now. He's also only 24 years old, about to turn 25, and he ran a 4.2 40, so he's got elite athleticism, another second-round pick. And then Cam Taylor-Britt is grading out a 54.5. So obviously the one that's most appealing according to PFF is DJ Turner. I want to ask you, Jacob, how do you feel about the cornerback room, and would you be willing to trade for another corner? Tim mentioned offline to me, I don't mean to steal your thunder, Tim, but I'm going to bring it up because I think it's a great point. Like, we already got a guy in Carrington Valentine we think should be on the field. We ain't got room for him on the field, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree with that sentiment with Tim. I would love to see Carrington have more playing time. You know, the whole Hobbs thing is kind of – I'm not willing to write him off quite yet. I do like the aggressivity he plays with. That being said, if there was a guy on this list, I would definitely be Turner that I'd be intrigued with. Like you said, the 4.2 speed, the age of 24, and more importantly, the way that I saw him play against us, he was playing phenomenal in that Cincinnati game. I believe that he ended up being a 90-ish grade in that game, and I think we only slipped maybe 1 or 2 passes by him, and even then he had really sticky coverage. Love the upside with him. Would it be a move to maybe, if we really do think that we're going to make a late run and we think that the cornerback room's a liability, then I would, I'm not the GM. I'm not in that front office, unfortunately. So I don't get to really be privy to those conversations. But that being said, I mean, me personally, I know that I went into the beginning of the season thinking that the cornerback room was going to be our biggest liability. I think that in certain situations it has proven to be true. However, in certain other situations, we see flashes of them being really, really, I've seen Keyshawn having that 5 PBU type game. You see Carrington having flashes here and there. You see guys like Bullard taking a step in certain situations. So I'm not officially ready to write off anybody that's currently on our roster, but if we can improve the roster, making a late stretch and really have that kind of shore up that room, if there is injuries, even if we got the best 3-4 guys, depending on the coverage out there, that's what I want. And I really am getting sick of thinking that we're handcuffed to whatever player we recently gave a big contract. That's what I don't want us to do. I don't want us guys going out there because we paid them. I want the best guys going out there, period.
Yeah. And Emilio, when you look at it here too, man, just thinking about the future, right? In 2026, there's 3 cornerbacks on our roster that are currently under contract: Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, and Carrington Valentine. However, Bo Melton and Kamal Hadden, Bo Melton has a restricted free agent tag, right? And then Kamal Hadden, exclusive rights free agent. So essentially, they're going to return if we want them back. That's essentially what that means. So when you look at the contract situation here, do you think maybe, okay, if you go out and you trade for a player you had a first-round grade on, and let's say you give up a third or a fourth-round pick for them, right? Or hell, who knows, a fifth or a sixth-round pick, and all right, they are the player we thought they were, or they're better than, say, a Bo Melton or Kamal Hadden. That kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, I would think so. My thought was, I feel more comfortable with our D line than our corner room depth. If that's a way to look at it for me to kind of get to the process of, I think that we could go ahead and bring in a corner. But like Tim was saying, and like you think about it, we rely more heavily on safeties because we're bringing that one into the slot. We have a backup in Catan. We have Evan. You have X. So we didn't technically need all that corner depth, but I do see where that could be a possibility. If you're going to take your shot, you got to do it now before the trade deadline. I don't think there's any corners out there that you can just pick up off the streets and play, free agency wise. So if you're ready and you think that that's, something, it would be a Goody decision with a little bit of Ed and a little bit of discussion with Matt and Jeff. And if you think we need that depth, man, go out and do it.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that. He mentions that, Tim, because Coach Hafley was actually asked earlier, man. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. I want to get your take on it too, Tim. Matt Schneidman tweeted out, Jeff Hafley defends his DBs when asked about quarterbacks like Prescott, Flacco, and Brissett having some success recently. Now, listen, there's a good portion of the fan base that thinks these cornerbacks suck, right? But as Hafley points out, our secondary right now is number 1 in the NFL in yards per pass play. Now, what's the stat that, and listen, I say this because there are some fans that rake me over the coals saying that's a horrible stat. Yards per pass attempt is the exact stat that Jeff Hafley mentions here, Tim. We're number 1 in that. And again, is it everything? No, it's not everything, right? There's a lot of other things that come into play. We did chalk talk, me and Emilio. There were several busted coverages in match coverage, was there not?
Yep. And Hafley talked about that a little bit in his presser. He didn't want to get into it, but that one we talked about, that one touchdown, they thought they were in cover 4. There was some issues with the back end this game.
Right. So Tim, they weren't on the same page. However, I love that Hafley mentions, damn, boys, listen, I know we're not playing perfect, but we're number 1 in yards per pass play, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it maybe explains why they're not willing to come off of, Keyshawn, Hobbs, and Bull out there as the main characters. That's why I kind of push back against the sentiment of trading for a corner that you think is going to play anytime soon. I'd like to see CV hit the field more often, and we can barely get him any reps. So, to Emilio's point, if you can shore up the back end of that DB room, that cornerback room, and, maybe you can make an improvement over, say, a Kamal Hadden or a Bo Melton. But I feel like, to your point, Clay, that, they want him around, they're going to keep him. And Bo would be the guy, I think, that's going to stay. I think he's got a greater role on this team other than just being a corner, obviously. So if you can shore up the back end with some creative moves, maybe. But, bottom line, it's K9, it's Hobbs, and it's Javon Bullard, and then maybe Valentine. I don't see what a move at corner is going to do that's going to really impact the play on the field. And to Hafley's point, I mean, if you look at the tail of the tape, our secondary is doing pretty damn good right now. You may not like how it looks out there, but, this is a results-driven business in game, and the results speak for themselves.
Definitely. Coach Lynn says they don't suck, but I want more bodies in that room in 26. Completely agree with that, right? And like Emilio pointed out, you've actually got 4 corners in that room as opposed to the 3 PFF or Spot Track showing, because you got, Bullard that's playing slot corner as well.
Right.
So
maybe that's the issue right there, right? Like, let's get a true slot corner and not have to have a safety play the slot, or just convert Bullard and call him a slot corner.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, there's that. And then listen, another big talking point was obviously Nate Hobbs, and we seen it on tape. However, after we watched it through, Amelia, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I didn't come away feeling good about Hobbs. Don't get me wrong. But there were a couple plays that I thought that was on Hobbs. And then after we watched the tape back, it's like, no, that wasn't on Hobbs. Specifically that touchdown to Trey McBride, right? Where it's obvious that everyone else was playing the same defense other than Edger and Cooper, where he let him kind of cross his face and go, right? Yep. So One of the things Jeff Hafley mentioned today, Matt Schneidman tweeted out Jeff Hafley on Nate Hobbs, quote, "I believe he's going to get out there and take a step forward this week." He said, without saying, Jacob, he struggled. That's essentially what he's saying here, right? Like, hey, I think he's going to take a step forward. So he's kind of acknowledging Hobbs had a bad day, which I respect the way he did that as well. It's not, yeah, he's got to be better. No, I think he's going to be better, right? I think that's the right way of handling it. But I think we would all agree we have not been pleased with Nate Hobbs up to this point, Jacob. But also, as we mentioned time and time again, he's kind of been playing from behind all year with that injury he had in training camp too.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to lie, when I initially heard about the Hobbs signing, I was like, God, why? Why are we throwing money around like this? After digging in a little bit as to his style of play, the connections obviously that go back to the Raiders and what that does with Bisaccia and how they kind of ties in. After seeing the aggressiveness that he plays with, it was really exciting in that OTA and preseason start of the season. And like you said, that injury just absolutely, I don't care what you say, anybody that's played sports, especially when you get an early injury in the season before you get your conditioning, your wind, you are so far behind the 8 ball to try to catch up. It's just, I mean, you are just kind of chasing everybody else that has that natural progression from week to week. And the continuity of playing within a certain scheme with certain guys next to you where you get that comfortable those reps where they're like exactly what coach is saying. He's not fully healthy yet. We haven't seen him. It's funny because we were so willing to give leeway and some time for Micah because he went literally, we paid the guy a lot of money. We told him to come over here. We said, hey man, we're going to give you a few weeks to get your wind underneath you, to get the playbook. For whatever reason, we decided that Hobbs isn't worth that same grace. And I think that we need to take a step back as Packer fans and realize, hey, we're being a little harsh on this dude just because, and I'll be honest, I think it's because the name, most people didn't know his name when we announced the signing. You know, right. It wasn't, he's not on Wheaties boxes. He's not, has no action figures. He's not doing commercials. He's just a lunch pail type player. And usually those are the types of players that come in and perform really well for us. So again, I'm not really willing to write him off just so yet.
I agree with that 100%, Jacob. I mean, look at the patience and the grace we gave Ja dealing with injuries.
Right.
We were patient enough to let him, try and get back to that elite level. We know what Nate Hobbs is capable of doing, and I agree with Coach Lynn here. He's just not fully healthy there, yet, and that explains why we see some of the things we saw on the field. Plus, combined with what you covered, Clay, talking about they threw everything but the kitchen sink at him, making it extremely difficult. So I agree with Coach Hafley's sentiment that belt to ass Nate Hobbs is coming back soon. We just got to be a little bit patient, right?
Belt to ass, BTA.
Thank you. Exactly, Nate. Because I mean, if that's what everybody's mad at Goody for, or whatever, like that's his worst free agent signing ever. I mean, you're mad about that. Yeah, he didn't have a couple good games. Dude came off a knee injury. I remember watching that video. I didn't even like him going out and playing that week. Like I don't think that we would rush him back as in like the Packers organization, because Josh is always talking about how much they're protecting the players and all that. But he's like, no, I'm a different kind of guy. I'm okay. Keep giving me the reps. I think that Hobbs is also that kind of dude saying, I want to be out there like Christian would. I want to be out there. I want to play. And maybe it's just still a little tender. I mean, he got turned around a couple of times. Yeah, it happens. But I think that he's a good corner. I think we're going to get, a good deal out of it. If it doesn't work out, fine. But you can't judge a dude off 7 games coming off an injury. We haven't even hit, midway of the season. And we, like Hafley said, are first. And, it doesn't matter if it's one dude. There's 11 on defense at a time. You just got to have trust in the entire, the unit as a whole. And I think that, Hobbs does help the team, get better or make him better.
Got a quick question for you guys. Tim already knows the answer. We had this conversation offline. Jacob and Amelia, if you had to guess which cornerback on the Packers roster has the best passer rating when targeted, don't touch your keyboard, don't touch your phone. Who do you think has the best passer rating when targeted on the Packers cornerback room?
I would guess Hobbs, actually.
Probably Carrington, but
guess who it is? Javon Bullard.
Ooh.
At a 90.0. Not good, but he's got the best, right? And that's according to NFL Pro. But, of course, when you hop over to, like I said, that's the numbers right there. Again, passer rating allowed. McKinney, safety, 33.1 stud. Javon Bullard, 90.0. Keyshawn Nixon, 91.0. Evan Williams, 97.2. Carrington Valentine, 106.5. And Nate Hobbs, 124.5 right now.
Don't be sleeping on Bull, man.
I'm telling. Hey, listen. That was his best 2 games I've seen him play, in my opinion, as a Packer. And I'm trying to curb the enthusiasm because, again, you guys know I've been very vocal. Coverage is not his strength. But boy, oh boy, he seems like he's getting really comfortable. And he's getting even more comfortable laying the wood, dude. You can tell he is bringing the thunder. I love seeing it. So that's just one statistic, right? Again, I just want to point that out. Now, if we go to PFF and we were to look at the grades, right, overall defensive grades, Carrington Valentine, 72.9, Keyshawn Nixon, 68.7, Nate Hobbs, 59.3. Why do I mention that? And again, this doesn't have Bullard in it, right? It does not. So the reason I mention that, maybe I can pull up Bullard's here in a second, is because the one common thing that both PFF and NFL Pro agree with is Nate Hobbs is the worst corner on the team right now. So again, I know we're talking about grace and this and that, but if you see it, you got to say it. 2 different sites, 2 different ways of grading a player, right? Have him as the worst on the team right now. So we got to mention it. You know, I'm going to polls real quick. Go ahead.
All I'd say, Clay, is look at that picture right there. We don't even have, where are the other reps at corner? You know what I mean? Like, there's no other spots for reps. I feel like even if we go to get somebody, it's those 3 and that's it. I mean, it's your safeties that we're relying on.
That's why I like Bullard making steps in the coverage game, because it makes me think to the future, like, can we in fact put him back at safety? And then you move a guy like Hobbs to the slot like we discussed, and you get Carrington Valentine on the field. Now you're rotating Bull as like a box safety, playing in the box near the line of scrimmage kind of guy in some of these packages. And then you keep the talent that you have and the personnel you have. You just get more guys on the field. We haven't seen Bullard play true safety since last season. And we didn't like how that looked. So it'd be interesting to see how it looks now with the progress that he's made with his coverage skills.
Yeah, and Drew D points out a great point. Hobbs has a really good run defense grade. He's solid in the run defense, right? Yep. I feel like he is a slot corner. I think he's being asked to do something he shouldn't be doing. That's just me personally. But again, do you take out your 2nd-round pick and Bullard and put him in there and put him on the bench now? Because you're damn sure not going to start Bullard over Evan Williams or Xavier McKinney at safety, right?
Then maybe you're right. Maybe it becomes a question of it should be CV. Does CV earn that spot over Hobbs?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And again, this is Javon Bullard's coverage grade, by the way. Keep in mind, he's got the best passer rating when targeted on the Packers, coverage grade 58.1. It's like Cousin Eddie, right, on Christmas vacation or whatever. What do you say? She fell down a well, her eyes went cross, she gets kicked by a mule, they go back straight. I don't know, right? So there is your DB room breakdown. Anything else you guys want to hit on there before we move on to a little bit more Look, actually, I got one more I'll hit as soon as we wrap this up. You guys got anything else on the DB room?
I love Fishy Things comment. He says, a corner with great run defense is like a pirate with great hygiene. Cool. That's not why you're on this ship.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
That's right, man.
I kind of agree with it, but like you said, one thing that we have to remember, I believe, are we still number 1 in rush defense? And that helps when we have 2 dudes. It's one in the slot, one playing outside that absolutely are willing to throw their body around like a human meat missile in the run game.
Mm-hmm. If you go to yards per rush attempt, Green Bay is officially 4th, okay, at 3.5 yards per rush attempt. However, most people, and you guys know I'm not a big fan of this, they go to rushing yards per game. Rushing yards per game, we slipped to 2nd now at 76.5. Still solid, but 76.5. So that's where we sit there. But again, for those of you watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the DB room? Should they trade for somebody? Do you feel like that we're, not just us, but everybody's being too harsh on Nate Hobbs? Do you feel like, no, it's kind of warranted? Is he still a little banged up like some of the listeners have said here in the chat? Let us know what you think, and make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Tim, you're going to love this one, sir. You're going to love it. Our boy at Hog NFL, really good follow over on X. Make sure you give him a follow. He tweeted this out. Jeff Halfley on Quay Walker, quote, I think Quay is playing at an elite level right now. And Hogg went on to say, it's been an up and down journey, but it looks like 7 has arrived in year 4. So is that coach speak? Or do you guys truly feel like PFF has got their thumb up their butt and Quay Walker is playing at an elite level?
I'm going to let everyone else go first on this one because you guys know how I feel about this.
I'll go first. I think he's playing much better, but I don't think he's playing at an elite level. When I hear elite, I think Fred Warner, right? Elite's as good as it gets, okay? I think he is somewhere between good and very good this year based off what I've seen. Still made mistakes, but, man, he seems like he's playing his best football to date for sure. Go ahead, Jacob. Emilio, what do you think?
I would like to maybe see us dive into a little more of what Reef is talking about, saying he said we need to blitz Quay. I don't know if it's necessarily we need to, but I know that he is pretty darn effective and scary when you try to stop that man from shooting the gap and using all of that that athleticism that he has. I mean, that's a big dude coming with a big head of steam. I would have liked to see Cooper do some more blitzing this year. Doesn't really seem like he's as aggressive, or maybe they're not using him in the certain way that we're kind of been used to. But man, when I watch Quay start blitzing, it gets me pretty excited. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I love Quay. I know Tim's ride or die for him, been supporting Quay the whole time too. It's like I know they've been on him. I know it hasn't been perfect. He's gone through some stuff, but the dude is he's a freak athletically. Like Halfley's saying, his mentals are on another level right now. He's able to coordinate with the DBs, with the D line. Everything is coming out from Halfley's mind and is coming out onto the field because of Quay being able to get it all out there. So I'm just glad that that's starting to really take off. And then maybe, you have a little bit more speed on your side. You don't have to worry about it. You, like we talked about for a while, his holster, like what does he have in his holster? All right, now he's got a quick draw on his left side. Like, I love that for him because then he can be himself. And look, he's able to blitz because he feels like he's got somebody back there that can cover for him.
I think it's a great point. And Tim, here are the stats. Here's the stats, sir. Edgerrin Cooper has more snaps than Quay. So when we go to a rare dime look, they pull Quay off the field, keep Coop out there. I don't think anybody would argue that's probably the right thing to do, right? However, when you look at the stats here, man, they blitz Quay only 5 more times than Edgerrin. And look at the difference in pressure percentage, guys. 24.2% pressure rate when they blitz Quay. Edgerrin Cooper only 14.3% this year. So Quay, man, Tim, it kind of feels like Quay, he might be another Micah Parsons-like player where he's a better pass rusher than he is a stack backer, man.
It's almost like somebody went back and watched some Georgia Bulldog tape on Quay Walker.
Right.
Feel like Coach Half might have, locked himself in the film room with a 12-pack of Daddy Sodas and just watched some college tape on Quay, because I feel like he's really coming into his own. The experience factor we talked about, like Emilio's point, being the green dot, being having a full grasp of this defense and what the checks and calls are between the secondary and the front. We've seen that multiple times. Late in the play clock, we've seen Quay make adjustments to the technique on the line, and it worked to our advantage. And we've seen Quay, Mike Fire. We've seen him blitz off the edge. We've seen him, touch sky. He looks closer to how he looked on tape, in his sophomore and junior year at Georgia. And I think it's benefiting us right now. And, to Emilio's point, man, you can really cut this guy loose when you can trust your safeties behind you for sure.
Yeah. And when you look at the stats, guys, again, and I love what Drew says, a lot of people thought Quay should be a pass rusher. I remember that being the talk, right? Like, he skyrocketed up at draft boards like 48 hours before the draft, and it was because he can rush the passer, he can play stack backer, elite athleticism. He's got the frame you want in a mock backer as well. He's that perfect mold of, all right, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to rush the quarterback? You want him to play stack backer, right? Yep. But when you look at the stats here, Tim, again, it's worth mentioning, Edgerrin Cooper has gotten more snaps than Quay, yet he still leads in tackles for the team, 59. That's 10 more than Edgerrin Cooper, okay? He also leads in stops. That's 29 stops to Edgerrin Cooper's 26. This isn't to say that Edgerrin Cooper isn't a good football player. We know he's a great football player, great young stud. He's going to be an excellent player for a long time for the Packers. Yeah. This is the kind of year when you look at PFF it shows Quay's struggling still. He's better, but he's still struggling. But then you look at these numbers and go, hold up a minute. How are you grading Edgerrin Cooper so much higher? Yet Quay is beating him in every statistical category other than hustle plays, right? Cooper's got 10 and Quay's got 6. That could be a little schematics playing into that a little bit. He's also got 1.5 sacks and 10% higher pressure rate when you do blitz him as well. Now, the only downfall there is obviously the passer rating when targeted is a 115.6. Edgerrin Cooper's a 99.6. So a little bit worse in pass coverage. But like we're saying, Quay's an attacking linebacker. That's essentially what you've got here. So if you use him more like that, I think he's going to continue to improve. I just thought this was really, really fascinating, man. And again, it's why we look at PFF, we look at NFL Pro, we watch the tape. To me, the tape, if I had to grade Quay's tape this year, I would say B-, right? When you look at the stats on NFL Pro, you would say A. Yeah. But you look at the PFF grade and you'd say C, maybe C+, right? So when you take all that and throw it into, one big bundle, Quay's having his best year to date, So
can I just say one more thing about Quay before we move on? I just wanted to say one more thing.
Pay that man his money.
Jacob knew it was coming. Emilio, Jacob, y'all got anything else to add on Quay? I thought that was really, really interesting.
Yeah, dog. Glad we have him. We needed him. We need that speed. The speed on your defense comes from the middle of the field, and we have 2 freaks right there. I don't know where we'd be right now without Quay. It'd be a lot on Coop's plate. I mean, you'd be trusting Hopper. I love McDuffie, but it's just not just a different kind of athlete.
Yeah, I was going to say McDuffie's numbers look pretty good too. Go ahead, Jake.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I like what Holmes said. He says, Quay is a dog. I don't like to compare to these legacy name-known players. Quay is one of the most instrumental off-ball backers in the league, in my opinion. I like the way he's progressed in his game. I like the way that, we talked about earlier, if we could maybe unlock another aspect of his game when they have to worry about him coming off the edge or coming through the middle, maybe freeing up guys like Wyatt when he comes back, obviously Parsons and Gary on the edge there. It's going to be another feather to put in your cap and say, who are we going to focus on right here? And then one other just fun story. The Vikings game has started. I did not know it, but Aaron Jones is back in the lineup. He's now playing his only 3rd game of the season, so I'm pulling for him tonight.
And right as you said that, I look on the screen and Carson Wentz is peeling himself up off the turf too. He just got it.
Oh, yeah, he did. Oh, wow.
Built ass.
Finish it, Tim. Give me a rest.
All
right. So there you go. There's your Quay Walker talk. We'll wrap up with just a quick little preview. I want to see where the betting line is on this game. Packers Steelers coming up Sunday night. And it looks like everything opened up here. Yeah, go Chargers. You got that right, sir. You got that right. Let me widen this out just a touch so we can lower it down. All right, here we go. So as it sits right now, going into this game, the Packers are 3-point favorites, okay? The market's got us as 3-point favorites. PFF has it closer than that at 2.6. Okay, so this is going to be one of those. It's just going to be a hell of a ball game, and I cannot wait, dude. It's going to be absolutely awesome. They're calling for 56 degrees and overcast. Now, I haven't seen anything about the wind report. We'll keep our eye on that, obviously. The overall rank here, the Packers are 4th according to PFF. The Steelers are 16th. Defensively, the Packers are 15th. The Steelers are 16th. Offensively, the Packers are 4th. The Steelers are 10th. And in strength of schedule played so far, the Packers have played the 24th toughest schedule, and the Steelers have played the 31st toughest schedule. So, again, you see the Steelers' record of 4-2 there. You think off to a good start. PFF is suggesting they played a pretty weak opponent, up to this point, right? And that's constantly changing as you go through the season, obviously. So, average snaps, the Packers are averaging 65 snaps a game. Steelers only averaging 57. The Packers are throwing the ball 57% of the time. The Steelers are throwing it 58% of the time. EPA per run, the Steelers are slightly better at minus 0.04. The Packers are at minus 0.06. And EPA per pass, the Packers run away with it here at a positive 0.27. The Steelers are at a positive 0.13. The quarterback matchup, Emilio, Jordan Love, 78.6 on the year. Aaron Rodgers is a 64.3. Passer rating when clean. Jordan Love, 133.5. Aaron Rodgers, 114.9. Under pressure, Jordan Love, 38.1. Look at Aaron Rodgers, 72.5 Emilio under pressure. He's still got it, man. You blitz Aaron, he's going to make you pay. Bring a 4-man rush. Show is again, I want to see 2-man under from time to time and make him thread the needle on those back shoulder throws is kind of what it feels like on the surface. What do you think, Emilio?
Yep.
How you feel about this, man?
Definitely. Good matchup. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a chess match, a shootout, whatever it needs to be. But I think we got to be careful. Like you said, pressuring Rodgers. That's why you paid Micah to get pressure with 4. I think that we can do that, no problem. And I think that in that same vein, they're going to be in 12 a lot. They're going to be in 13 a lot. We'll pull up some of those numbers for tomorrow. But we've got a good chance against them. You keep the ball. I think we run some more plays than them, work the clock. It's going to be cold, right? 45 degrees, going to start being those cold night games. Hits are going to feel a little different. And, we just got to be ready it's going to be a difficult environment. They're going to be spinning their towels and all that stuff. So they better be ready. And my biggest worry right now is honestly our snap count for offense. That and pre-snap penalties need to be squared away this game, or else it could be long.
Yeah, Tim, it's going to be rowdy up there, man, at Acrisure.
Terrible towels will be out for sure.
And dude, they're sitting at 4-2. It's going to be rowdy.
That's why I put a lot of emphasis on the defense. I mean, look at the metrics. 15th against 16th here. I think we've seen Pittsburgh's play lights out at times this year, and then we've seen them give up a bunch of points. And we've seen the same thing with our defense. We played pretty close to lights out, and we also gave up a 40 burger to Dallas. Things happen. I think it's going to be a matter of whose defense shows up and makes the fewest mistakes, makes the most plays. I think it's going to be a one-possession game, come down to the wire, get ready to stay up late. I don't think you're going to see a boat race in either direction. I feel like these teams are maybe a little bit more evenly matched than even some of these metrics would let you believe here. And even just looking at PFF, Aaron Rodgers grading out at a 64-3 is insane to me. I've seen enough tape on Aaron this year to think that he should be probably graded a little higher. So when it comes to your quarterback battle, I'm anticipating great performances from both of those guys. I think it's going to, come down to who plays better defense, honestly. And I'm with you. You want to pressure Aaron in a very controlled and limited fashion, hopefully not sending 5 or 6. However, I do think you can blitz him on occasion as long as you maintain your edge and you don't let him, squeak out of there and roll left or right and extend these plays. So it's going to be on the defense, in my opinion, for this one.
Yeah, Holmes asked, the Steelers are 3.5-point dogs. No, it depends on where you get it at. The PFF is showing the market currently at 3. It opened at 3.5, and it's now shifted to 3. But again, their metrics have it at 2.6 point underdogs. So I would say it's 3 right now, Holmes. But again, you could probably find it at 3.5. You could possibly even tease it to 4 if you want to put action on that. So, Jacob, what's your thought on this, man, as we wrap up, bro?
Yeah, I think that this comes down to this is a game of narratives. And if you talk to Matt LaFleur or anybody in that Packers coaching organization, they're going to tell you that this game is only just another game. It doesn't mean a lot. And in certain aspects, I think that's what they have to say because that's the way that you get you guys ready. Underneath the surface, if you take a look at it, there's a lot on the line in this game. There's bragging rights. There's whether or not Jordan Love measures up to the Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you know this, but it's the first time that Micah Parsons will ever play in this stadium in his career. He was actually hurt the last time that he went to Pittsburgh. So he actually did play when it was I believe his senior year in college. He actually had played in the stadium, but he was really excited to play for the first time under the bright lights Sunday night game, officially for his first suited up and healthy game. Rodgers has a chance to be one of, I believe, 5 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL to beat all 32 teams. You can't just tell me this is another game. There is a lot on the line here, a lot of bragging rights, a lot of ego. Obviously, the 2 teams are going to be fighting for it. The Packers to stay ahead on the NFC, the Steelers to really probably take a step forward. If anybody else loses, they could be right up there in the top 3, if not the top 2 seed in that AFC as well. It's going to be a brutal. I hope it's going to be a brutal kind of hard-nosed, old-school Pittsburgh versus Green Bay, cold weather, night game. I'm getting John Gruden just thinking about it. It really does.
You hear me?
It's just really like if you're a fan of football, this is exactly the type of football game that I have wanted to watch for years now. It's emotional on both sides of it, especially for me. I still have a soft spot in my heart, always will, for Rodgers. I want him to do well, just not that well maybe on Sunday night.
Yeah, and I will say this. I'm glad you brought that up because obviously Micah played at Penn State, okay? He grew up in Harrisburg, if I remember correctly, which is closer to Philly than Pittsburgh, but he is kind of going home, right? So that's really, really exciting stuff there. I guarantee you he'll be amped up to play the Philadelphia Eagles as well. But although I do think he grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan, if I understood correctly. But yeah, he's from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So it's gonna be exciting, man. It's gonna be, like you said, a lot of stuff on the line for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of on the line, go ahead, Amelia. You got anything or no?
No, I did look real quick at this is per Sumer Sports, but they're right around 47%, 46, 47% in 12 personnel. So they're double tight ends a lot. They're in 13 personnel, almost 16%, and they're in 11 personnel about like 34%, 33, 34%. So they're heavy. They're heavy, and I'm pretty sure they also bring in an extra O lineman. So I think it's going to be a big D line game for our front four, and again, rotational inside depth. Where are we at? You don't have LVN. I think Anibari's going to have to step up. I think it'll be a little bit more in the trenches than just the quarterback battle itself.
Dude, Darnell Washington is a massive target, and he is just a brute. It's fun watching him play.
It is. He's slower than molasses, but he's a big tight end, man. He might as well be an offensive lineman. Yeah.
I mean, and look at DK. I mean, they're basically in 12 all the time, even if they're not. I mean, he's a gigantic, ginormous, fast, powerful receiver. So we got to be on the ball for sure.
It kind of explains, right, why Devontae Wyatt, they're trying to give him every opportunity to get him back in the lineup too, because you're going to be a little lighter there. But again, keep Brinson active. Get Wyatt back. You know what I mean? Beef up in the middle. Because when they go to that 13 personnel, Emilio, the question is going to be, do you stay in your base 4-3 or do you go to some kind of 4-4 look, right? I know the box is going to be loaded, and Aaron going to be licking his chops. There's for sure, man.
Well, I know this is for sure.
Scared money don't make money.
Got that right, Coach. You kidding me, man? Unbelievable. All right, Tim, speaking of that, scared money don't make money. Actually, it's a horrible segue. Tell them about
Nobody's scared. We made our donation yesterday, so you guys can do it too. OperationHorsesHeal.org/how can I help. You guys know we teamed up with Operation Horses Heal for the whole month of October, helping raise money for a truck and horse trailer for this awesome group and charity that's bringing life-changing horse-assisted programs to veterans. So they have a great place in Westboro, Wisconsin, where veterans and active duty service members and their families can come and get in on some of this equine therapy, self-guided wellness journey. But they want to be able to bring these horses directly to these veterans events. So we're trying to raise some funds to help them get a trailer and a truck. Every donation is your entry into the contest to win an autographed Romeo Dobbs jersey. So please scan that QR code in the upper right corner or go to OperationHorsesHeal.org/how can I help to make your donation. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And another easy way to find that, guys, go to my Twitter account at Packers_access. There's a tweet pinned at the top of the page. You'll see it's Tim's tweet. You click there, you get the link easily to get to. You can do it from your phone, from your PC, wherever you're at, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's an
You'll
easy
see some
way
of Bates's tweets out there too. He's been doing a great job of promoting this with us as well. We appreciate that.
And listen, if you don't have anything to donate, I understand, man. I've been there, got the T-shirt. Feel free to spread the word. Just share that link out. That way other people are more aware of OperationHorsesHeal.org. We're excited about partnering up with them. So that being said, we're out of here, guys. Let's go watch the Vikings get their ass kicked. That's the goal here, all right? Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Hit like, hit subscribe, click that bell icon on your way out. That way you're notified when we go live here in the future. We'll be back tomorrow, most likely. I'll let you guys know, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live, and we'll continue to break down Packers-Steelers matchup coming up Sunday night. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.